Okay, so good morning, everybody. It's another Friday here in the TEFL Development Hub, and we've got a fantastic session today. I always say that. I know I love speaking to everyone, but honestly, this is going to be such a time-saving tool for anyone who's teaching Cambridge exams. So definitely stay tuned because you'll love this by the end of it. I love it. So today we've got joining us Juan García Alcázar and he's going to be telling us about an app that he developed called MockHat, which is perfect for helping you save time to correct your learners' Cambridge writing exams. Fantastic. So I'm already kind of effusing about this, but I'm going to hand over to Juan Bao now so that he can tell you a lot more about it and explain how it works. So, Juan Bao, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Teresa. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Good morning to everyone. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity of being able to introduce MockHat to your community of teachers. And yeah, I mean, let me just share this little presentation that I got to give us more context. And yeah, I mean, the session today is about how we can save time using MockHat, which is an AI-powered AI tool that help us to correct English exams. Yeah, and let me give a little bit more context about our MockHat team. Let me see. Okay, so who we are the founders. Me, myself, Juan Bautista García Alcázar. I am the co-founder and CEO of MockHat. And I've got also an English academy in the south of Spain, Walking School, which is been running for 10 years. We have prepared more than 2,000 students for Cambridge and Trinity and APTIS exams. So we have lots of experience on assessment. And also my co-founder, Diego Viqueira, who I met him in a master that we did on generative AI. And we both realized during these masters the potential that AI had for helping assessment, the human knowledge in general. And since I had the experience with English assessments, we decided that we should start by Cambridge exams. And that's how MockHat was born. And so what's happening in the age of AI? AI definitely has had an impact, a huge impact on education. We know that. I mean, we know that every day. And in terms not only that it helps us to create content, but also on how students do their assignments. Yeah. And one thing that hasn't changed really is that the fact that students still need to prove what they know. And the traditional assessment that we were doing before AI, those assignments that we send as a homework and everything, that we know that eventually that doesn't really work anymore. And the tools that have been devised to detect if students have been using AI, that they don't really work either. So in fact, we are seeing a trend, not only in the US, which are bringing the blue books, those had written booklets again to the class, but elsewhere, and that that we need to find a new ways of evaluating and assessing what our students know. So that's where the old handwritten tests matter more than ever, because they are authentic. They really show what the students can really produce on their own without using Grammarly or ChatGPT or other digital aids. They ensure that the work reflects the student's ability, especially in exam preparation context. And as I said before, in higher education, we already see that blue books are returning. But also they got deeper thinking. Yeah, they give us deeper thinking because that, writing by hand slows students down and encourages more thoughtful processing. And that's also been researched showing that handwritten work improves student retention and comprehension. And teachers often find that handwritten tasks reveal more about a student's organization, planning, problem solving skills than the other kind of assignments. And also because they're very cost efficient. It's a very simple technology. You just need some pen and paper, and they don't require an expensive data infrastructure. No computers, no browsers, and it's very quick to set up. So handwritten tests are definitely one strategy that we can use to counter back the impact that AI has had in students' evaluations and proving what they really know. But obviously that comes with a teacher burden. Why? Because you start using handwritten assignments. That means more teacher work with large groups. That becomes many scripts. When you have 20, 30 students, that means lots of hours correcting them. And you have different classes, then you just need to add the numbers. And also because it's a bit repetitive feedback for students, for teachers. They have to read again and again the same assignment, giving the feedback, some feedback like that. That eventually, and we know that usually happening even on weekends, because the handwritten assessments, they do it at the end of the quarter, the end of the semester. And that leads to inconsistency and bias because they are tired of correcting. So there are many things that come along with if we use handwritten tests to evaluate students' knowledge, to assess their knowledge. And the latest, which is what usually happens in many cases, is that this is an invisible work. I mean, it's like that comes with your with your job, and that all of that leads to many teachers eventually do more tests instead of handwritten assignments because they don't want to spend so much time doing that, and that makes the students losing an opportunity to show their really potential, their real potential. So that's why MockHat came along, because we thought, okay, so we can use AI, but not only use AI, we can organize this in such a way that it will really help teachers not only to save stress, time, correcting exams, but also to have everything organized within one platform. And that's where how develop a MockHat. So in MockHat, you've got classes, you've got assessments, you've got the handwritten responses that the students do, which you upload them through your mobile phone, and then we got the A feedback, and then we got the organized results. So you can always look back. The assignments are not somewhere in a wardrobe lost. Everything is organized. You can see the progress, the evolution that the teachers have had. Sorry, the students have had. And how your lessons, how they have impacted in whatever they have been producing along the year. And without further ado, I'm gonna show the application. So just give me 1 second.
I loved one of the things that you said there about the assignments not being hidden in a wardrobe. I think that's so often the problem that, and our students don't always appreciate the work that they put in, the feedback that we give. So yeah, so having them kind of in one concrete place, I think that's great for both students and teachers alike.
Absolutely. So here is the website. Here's mockhat.com. Here's where you can reach the platform, the application. And if you are not registered, obviously you can register. But I'm gonna show how do we use it in Work and School, which I think is a pretty good example. We've been using through the last quarter, the last course. The last semester, and yeah, we can see how we have organized everything by classes. Those are the different classes that we've been using in MockHat, the different courses, different levels. And for instance, one very good use case that we got is with an intensive course, a V2 that we ran back in July. And because that time of the year, as we know, June, July is a pretty busy month for intensive courses, because the students that have been studying during the year, That's when they really sit for the exam. Students who've been, with other, degree students, university students who've been, doing something else, and then they decide, oh, I need maybe one, I need maybe two in order to get the certificate. I need to do an intensive course. So everything comes along. They want to do everything in 4-6 weeks. And you had to, at least our methodology, and I believe that's the same for most academies or solo teachers, is like you do weekly exams, reading and use of English, writing, but then you realize that you have to correct during the weekend so many written exams. Otherwise, students wouldn't practice enough the letter, the email, the report, the article. They really need to practice, and that's where all the stress comes along. And so here I said that's what I believe this is a very good example. So for instance, you got your groups, and then within the group, you can check the metrics. So you can see how your group is performing. So in that way, maybe, you see that, hey, you need to focus more in the language. Obviously, needless to say, I believe that most of our audience is very aware of how Cambridge written tests work and how they are evaluated. But anyway, they are assessed in 4 criteria: in content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. From there, you get the score. And yeah, so we can see, for instance, this class, their weakness is language. So the teachers could focus more in improving this as a group, yeah, this parameter. But they're doing pretty well in content, so they know they are aware that to get a very good score in content, they really need to answer all what the question has been asked for. Yeah, and yeah, we can see the metric for the students, which I'm not going to show here anyway, but you can imagine that. Yeah, and also we can see some insights that the AI give us about this particular class. Okay. So this is going like now live because it's performing. This is not a store, it's like live performing. Okay, and here it gives us some areas for improvement for the group. As we said, that language accuracy, so it give us some sort of, some suggestions. Where can we focus, where subject-verb agreement, which is, usual. And we know this is usually happens, yeah, with the students of English as a second language. But anyway, yeah. They highlight, the AI highlight this, so it's very useful. And we also got, then I can go here, I can see the students, I can see the number of assessments that they have been performed. Okay, some of them have been pending because maybe there was a mistake doing that, but nevertheless, yeah, I can go here and I can see, view the assessments, which one has done which one. I can, so for this particular essay, I can go here and review it, and I can see the transcription of the assessment. Later on, we'll show how is the flow, the workflow. I can see the answer of the student, where were these mistakes. So I have highlighted the error text, the corrected text, and the explanation. So this is very helpful. This is also, the tool is very helpful for experienced teachers. Trust me, some of the most heavy users are teachers of C2, but also it's very helpful for teachers who have just started and they are not so experienced on assessing Cambridge exams. So they can use MockHat to help them to deliver their sort of evaluation of the student's assessment. We can see here that the A feedback has also the criteria scores that we have said that we have seen before, and give us the score, the feedback. Here, there are 2 things. Obviously, this is a very subjective sort of evaluation. Okay, I mean, there's not so much deviation. Obviously, I mean, our test has proven that MockHat is quite aligned with, the average teacher will sort of give to the students, yeah, the score that the student will give to, sorry, the score that the teacher will give to the students. But nevertheless, yeah, you can always change the score, maybe because, you think that the students, okay, if I give him such a high score, he might relax, and I don't want him to relax, so I can give it something less. or maybe because I want that student, I don't want to feel him, that he's not ready. I'm being pessimistic, so I want to somehow, boost up a little bit his confidence. Yeah, so that's why we can change that as well. Okay. Yes, I have here the different errors that the AI has caught. And here I have the score, the final score. Once again, Cambridge, the writing test has two parts, part 1 and part 2, and the scores are out of 20. So it gave up to 5 points out of 20 for each of the parameters. So all of them should up at 20. And one important feature that we add, that it was like cried out by our community of, or rather for our users, from our users, was the fact that now we can add late submissions. Yeah. So for instance, yeah, if there is, we know that even though that we really ask our students to give us, the essays and time or whatever, yeah, sometimes they fail to do it on time and they do it later on. So you can run the assessment later on with another student. Yeah. And so this is how you, as a school owner, will have your account organized. Obviously, I mean, our sort of users, we have three different types of users. We got the solo teacher, we got the teacher in an academy, and we also have the academies themselves. So I'm, as an administrator of my school, I can invite and manage students, teachers' invitations. So, for instance, in this class that I was showing you, I've got some teachers here, yeah, and I can manage all of that. All right. So I have two different, as a school owner, I have two different types of users. I've got the students and I got teachers, and there's courses. For instance, this course, it has been run by teachers totally independently, but I'm aware of what is doing everyone and everything. Okay. So that's pretty helpful as well. Because later on, if I have to talk to parents or to whoever, I can show them, look, your son, how has been performing? He needs to improve this, he needs to improve on that. Yes, it's very helpful in that sense. Yeah. And yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to do an assessment of one student, so we can show how the workflow, how that works, okay, how this works. So, for instance, I'm gonna create a class. So I'm gonna create a new class. I'm gonna call the class TEFL B2. And I'm gonna add a description. This is a test class. And it's gonna be B2 level. And yeah. And then I got the class here, and now I don't have members. I don't have teachers, well, only myself, and I don't have members. So I'm going to add a member to the class, who's going to be the one that I perform. I'm going to create a new student. I'm going to go this student, Aitana Morales, for instance. Okay, I don't need her email. I'm going to save my student, and I'm going to close. And let me see. Sorry, I didn't add it. Now it's added. Okay. So now I'm going to perform an assessment. Okay. Bear in mind that this can be done through from the mobile phone. I mean, usually the workflow is that you create the assessment here, but then later on you add the assessment. Sorry, the reading activities from the student from your mobile phone. Yeah, you can do it easily. So anyway, let's add the assessment. I'm gonna add the assessment is gonna be called, I think it's email, let's say email 1, for instance, just for the sake of simplicity. And the task, the standardized and Cambridge English qualifications, EQ. And the task is an email, but you can also do that an essay, an article, a report, a review, or a story. So all of them are covered. I'm going to upload an image of the assessment. So for instance, you can take the photo from an activity that you've got in a book or wherever you want. Yeah. But for the sake of simplicity and the presentation, I'm going to do it. I got already this here. And so got it here. This is the assessment. So I create the assessment. I have the transcription here. I can check if I want. I can add anything, but it's pretty, usually it's pretty reliable. So I go, okay. Now that I got the assessment, I'm gonna run the assessment. I'm going to upload the written exercise from Aitana. Again, I can do this from the mobile phone. That's how usually our teachers do it. Here is the image preview, but anyway, we can start the assessment. And now it will take seconds, but you can just leave this, and later on, whenever it's finished, because obviously the more assessment that you run at the same time, the longer it takes, you will receive an email. And but I'm pretty certain that it might have been done already. Let me see. Okay, so I can view the assessment. Okay, and here I can score a 12. I can review it. Okay, so this is the rubric of the assessment. This is the answer from Aitana. Here are the figure error that she has. Okay. And here the score that she gets for each parameter. I can review it. Finish here where she could improve. Then again, if I want, I can, give her a little bit of more a higher score if I want to. And yeah. And I can download it as a PDF, so I can hand it to my students, make notes, change things. Okay. And let me show you the original writing activity from Aitana. So we can share, we can compare the transcription. Okay, so can we see both of them at the same time, right? Okay, so we can see, hello, Frankie, it's a pleasure to listen about you. It sounds very well. I'm going about to my region for your travel with your pupils. So, basically pretty much the same. So, yeah. So that's basically it. And imagine that you can do this if you have 100, 200, 300 students, it will save you lots of time and having everything organized. And if you have 300 students the whole year, imagine that whenever you get back to what were you doing back in November, and it's in July, how my students have improved? Have they done the writing that I have asked them to do? So it's really, really helpful. And just let me get back to the presentation.
We have had comments already of wow. I
Oh,
mean,
nice.
and the fact that it was so instantaneous. I mean, I know that you said obviously if you're running a whole class of students, it wouldn't be that fast, but it's great. I mean, yeah, I mean that's
Thank
why
you.
I so
Thank
wanted
you.
you to
Thank
come and
you.
share it.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me just. So yeah, well, that eventually changed the mood of the teachers. We just review, you can upload handwritten exam, you take the photo with your mobile phone, is you do it through your browser, it's perfectly tested, no problem at all. It's under transcription of the rubric and the evaluation, and it gives us a structured feedback and scores. And as we have just seen, sorry, it's organized by class and students, so you can refer, you can get back, you can reuse. It has all these properties. Yeah, thank you very much. So our teacher can enjoy her weekends again and don't have to, AI came here to help her, yeah, rather than to give her more work.
Fantastic. I mean, I've noticed when you added Aitana as a student, there was an option that you could add an email address. Is that so that you could send the feedback directly to her from the program if you wanted to?
Well, that's something that we haven't implemented yet, because different schools run their way. They give the feedback to the students differently. Sometimes they prefer doing by hand, and the fact that that you need to ask students, some of them they don't have really so they have a sort of how would you say that, school public institution email. So that creates some friction, and you don't always have the emails on hand whenever you are going to perform the assessment. So eventually we leave it out. When we implemented it, it was mandatory, but now it's not mandatory anymore, because at the end of the day, what is, I mean, this is about saving time and having the less friction as possible. So now only with the name, and the surname, you're good to go.
Perfect, perfect. We've had a Fiona says, yes, I could get my Saturday morning back. She's also asked a really good question because she says, teens sometimes just look at the grade and ignore the teacher's feedback. Are they enjoying the depth of feedback that they're getting?
Well, I mean, that not happen only to tens. I think it happens to everyone these days. Yeah, we are not. We need to. We need always to have this TLDR, too long, didn't read, no section. Yeah, but no, I mean, this eventually is not you just hand out the thing to the students. I mean, depends of. I mean, who are you really teaching? If they are adults who are really, they are putting their effort, their money, because they really need a B1, B2, C1. Then definitely they leave the whole feedback. If there are teenagers who just have to be there, or younger students, because that's they are so overwhelmed, but so much feedback not only about English but about everything else. So it depends really how you really handed your students, your class.
Mhm, mhm. I mean, I guess as well, that's great from the teacher's perspective that, sometimes when you're marking a whole class's worth of assignments and you think, like, who's actually going to read this? If MockHat does all that for you, I mean, you can obviously go in, you can add more personal comments to the ones that you think are really going to kind of appreciate that individualized feedback as well. And then for the ones that are just going to go, oh yeah, great, 12 out of 20, they've got the AI generated feedback, which
Absolutely, absolutely, and this bring. I mean, we know that Cambridge. I mean, we know. I mean, we as a practitioners, we know that the time that really takes to assess one written exam. I mean, for us, if for each B1, B2, we have calculated around, depends on the experience of the teacher, 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. Yeah. And depends on how deep you want to go on really highlighting student mistakes and errors. Yeah, because sometimes you just do. I mean, that's what Cambridge says. Formative assessments. Just give some few guidelines of where you should improve, what things you should target, but you don't correct every single mistake that the student has. Yeah, and that's with MockHat totally changes, because eventually it's the AI who does it, and it's about it's just depend on how the teacher and the students want to somehow go deeper in really understanding every single mistake, every single thing.
Great, great. And I mean, obviously, this is ideal for teachers who are doing handwritten exams. I mean, I work online, and so when my students have sent me through their texts, I've just taken a screenshot of like they've typed their texts, and I've just taken a screenshot of that and uploaded it. And so for anyone who's going, oh, is this only for handwritten text? Absolutely not. You can just take a
Yeah,
screenshot and Bob's your uncle.
Absolutely. I mean, even if you do your assignment with Google Docs or whatever, digital, I mean, even better because, it will be easier from the AI to understand the character because eventually this is a technology which is, character recognition. So if I understand how written exams, it understand even much better typed text. So that for sure, yeah, that's the use case. But, I mean, we thought that our sort of niche use case, it was the handwritten test, but yeah, obviously it can be used by, any type of written sort of technology. Let's put it that way.
Hmm. 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 Fantastic. And I mean, I noticed this is obviously for the Cambridge exams. You had it as a drop-down menu for the CEQ. Are you hoping to expand it to other exam boards in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to do IELTS and we want to do it with Trinity. And yeah, I mean, with all the different certifications. We implemented with some of the evals, but as the audience that we got from Spain, they might know, I mean, in Spain, there's different communities, so the EVO is not really the same. And it's been a bit tricky. Yeah, but yeah, definitely we are open to include more certifications in the future.
Fantastic. And I know that some people are a little bit concerned about anything that's with AI nowadays and what's being stored and is that being used. I mean, this is a completely closed
Absolutely. I
platform, isn't
mean,
it?
we are totally compliant with the AA laws, regulations in Europe. Our servers are in Europe. Yeah, and there's no link between the students and the information is not used to train the models or anything like that. So yeah, we are totally safe on that front.
Fantastic. Great. I mean, Fiona says here, going back to what you were saying about timing, she says 6 minutes for B2, 10 for C1, and 15 for C2. So yeah, a huge time saving tool for any teachers who have got groups or particularly like you said as well for those intensive courses when you might have to do a writing every week and you need that
Absolutely.
time. Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Great. And I mean, one of the things that I loved as well, that the fact that it gives you, when you're teaching a class of students, the typical problems, because I think, it's something that we're kind of aware of, and maybe we're making notes as we're going through, and we might kind of identify, oh, I noticed everybody was having problems with this in this set. But that kind of having it so detailed as well, and not only that, but suggestions of what to do with it as well is just, it's amazing.
No, no, absolutely. I mean, we know, I mean, the fundamentals, I mean, the foundation of teaching groups or individuals is like, personalized education. And, with a tool like MockHat, this really helps to narrow exactly, personalize the teaching for a group. Where are the common sort of things to improve? So I can, tailor my lessons to that. And otherwise, if you are running different groups, it's much more harder to keep. And in this way, definitely, this is one of the valuable things that MockHat bring to the table.
Fantastic. And also, since I used it way back in May, I love that you've added that you can add further assessments once you've run it. I think that's great as well because, like you were saying, for people who are individual teachers, maybe they might just create one class with all of their students and then kind of repeat the assessment with those individuals. And so rather than having kind of 10,000 copies of the assessment, just have one main one. Perfect. It's fantastic.
Trust me, that has been our most demanded feature. I mean, whenever there were schools starting using MockHat or solo teachers starting using MockHat, the second thing they asked for it was, okay, why I cannot add a late assessment? I want a feature, please, because otherwise I need to create the assessment again. And even though it's so easy, but eventually this is about saving time. And
Mhm.
the ways that you find to save more time, the better.
Yep, absolutely. And I know as well, saving time and also for a lot of teachers, saving money. And MockHat at the moment, it's completely free, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, so far at this stage, we are still, at a very early stage of the product. So what we want is teachers using and, and having their feedback and tell us where we need to improve. And then, extend it to different certifications or adding more features or that sort of thing. So yeah, so far, totally free.
Fantastic. An added bonus for what's already an amazing product. Brilliant. Yep, Fiona says, oh, wow, again. Great. Well, Juan Bao, thank you so much for coming along today. If anybody else has any questions, obviously you can drop them in the comments here, but also I'll add Juan Bao's LinkedIn so that you can reach him there. And obviously I'll add the MockHat page so you can contact through that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for having me and give me this opportunity to show MockHat.
Always, always, I love a good product. Great. Everyone, have a